Dude, I felt like I was in a club that time. We got different music like every intro. It always catches me off guard. What is going on, Ezra?
What's up? What's up? How are you?
It feels like so long since I've seen you last.
It's been
24 hours.
Yes. Hang on. Let me turn that down.
Yeah, thank you.
It's too loud.
Like it? Good stuff. Just a little bit loud.
Better?
There we go. Oh, yeah. Happy New Year to all of you out there in internet land.
Happy New Year!
It is 2022. Hopefully it's not 2020 part 2.
Oh my gosh. No, yeah, I can't. No, the world does not deserve that.
We had, for those of you that that may have tuned in Friday night and not saw us on our regular time, if you tuned in a little bit later, we had our brand new show started on Friday. We started Kyber Cave After Dark, and that's every Friday at 9. Say Wong! Oh,
greetings from Sac Anime. That is now over.
I'm guessing it just closed at 7 o'clock. It's Saturday. Today's Saturday, right?
Yep.
I have no life. No, today's Sunday.
No, today's Sunday.
Oh, so this is the last day of Sac Anime.
Yep.
Say Wong, did you go out all 3 days? I know Say Wong was having car troubles or something yesterday. But yeah, I was very interested to hear what was going to happen with Sac Anime because we had heard on the first day that they two people had tested for COVID, right? So obviously they didn't shut the con down. Maybe they just had those people weren't allowed to come back or something. And I also, how did they know that 2 people tested for COVID? That's what I would be wondering. Like,
yeah, I'm kind of curious about that.
Because what, like a lot of places will do like that forehead scan thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it if you're too hot or something, then they pull you to the side and do like some kind of a quick swab or something?
I don't know. Say Wong will have to tell us.
Yeah, Say Wong. What did they do? How did they test for COVID? That actually is one of the interesting. I think this Friday, maybe one of the topics we talk about is conventions and COVID and what that all means. Because I was very interested with what happened to Sac Anime.
Oh. This is fancy.
That is my kid in the background. He is working on a sword. So for those that don't know, Saturday nights, we do a cosplay build show here. It's called Cosplay Build at the Kyber Cave featuring Darkseid Saber. And this is the project my son has been working on. He's been working on building his own sword. So he's using a router and a knife right now. There's a company doing rapid tests across the street from the Sheraton. Oh, wow. Okay. So I'm guessing did they scan your forehead, and then if you were hot or if you came up like conspicuous, they sent you over there? Or did everybody have to take a rapid test before walking in the front door? How exactly did that work? I'm interested to find out.
Maybe they just weren't feeling well, decided to go take a test.
I know that seems weird to me because, like, why would they come to the con if they weren't feeling good and then all of a sudden go, I'm not feeling good? Do you know what I mean? Like, well, I would think if somebody had COVID and was trying to sneak in that they wouldn't, or maybe they didn't know they had COVID.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people. I know a couple people who have COVID, and they said that they didn't feel anything until they started like exercising and stuff and walking around for a long period of time, and then they actually felt like nauseous and went and got.
So you know somebody on a personal level that has COVID?
Yes, actually, my what was it? My great aunt passed from COVID. So.
Wow. You passed? You said?
Yes, passed away.
Oh my God. Phoenix, what is going on? Phoenix says they're giving PCR tests. Not many people know that a PCR test looks at your DNA. You're submitting your DNA. That's so creepy. Oh my God. What exactly is a PCR test? I've not heard of that. I actually heard, on that note, when she was talking about looking at your DNA, I heard the beginnings of this weird story about how, 21andMe or something, or Ancestry.com, that they were actually, because all these people have submitted this information, that they were actually able to do like different DNA experiments and by information that people paid to send in. So very interesting. What's Say Wong says? Not all those who were unvaccinated had to take it either rapid test or the normal COVID test. Unvaccinated. Okay, so if you did not, it seems to me then that if you didn't have a card, right? I'm guessing, Say Wong, if you didn't have something that you was ready vaccinated, then they sent you over to do the rapid test. I'm guessing. Which, if that's how these cons are doing it, I think that's a good idea. That's, because I've heard a lot of different, some cons have shut down completely. Some cons, you have to have the paper, and some cons are just saying, whatever, to just let it ride. Okay, so Sewong says you do have to have the paper, and then if you don't have the paper, you have to go get the rapid test. Makes sense to me.
Interesting.
So what else, Ezra? We got anything new going on?
We're going to be starting classes soon.
Yes. Kyber Cave, Ezra, myself, and Dawn at Darkside Sabers, we start our CNC classes here on the 18th. So what is that? Today is what, like?
Today's the 9th, so in 9 days.
Today's the 9th? Ooh, yes. But even with that, they were saying the campus was closed for the first 5 weeks. So I'm wondering how that affects us. We're going to have to message our instructor to find out, like, because we have a whole lab portion that we have to come in once a week and do. So I'm interested to see how that all pans out.
That'll roll.
Yes. So, hey, I want to get going a little bit earlier on this because we have something a little bit different for flow of the show tonight.
Oh, wait. Before we get into that, a message from our sponsor ourselves.
Oh? What?
Our sponsor is KyberCave.com.
Yay! We are sponsoring ourselves.
We have
You can get those shirts for $20 each. Those are on our website, and that helps make sure that Ezra can stay employed. We carry those from small to 3X because I'm a big boy, so I need the 3X. We have Saber chopsticks in 9 different colors.
Sorry, one of the chopsticks opened.
Oh, it opened up.
The battery compartment did.
What else do we have there? We have acrylic keychains. That Kyber Cave is backwards, but that's all right. Those are only $5. $5 for acrylic keychains, or you can go the opposite direction and get an all metal keychain. And we have those in red. The keychain is all metal. We have those in red, blue, and green. And the knife, the pocket knife. Ooh. And what does it say on there, Ezra?
Those that need to know already do.
Kyber Cave. So those are only $10. Not too late to get somebody a stocking stuffer.
Or have one for next year.
And if this is your first time with us tonight, please make sure to check us out. Please subscribe to us on YouTube. You can also subscribe to us on Twitch. And there's no subscribing needed on Facebook. You just tune in and watch. But we'd love it if you help us out on our YouTube and you help us get our subscribers up so that we can start paying for the show.
Yes, go subscribe to our YouTube because we will have a gaming channel coming there soon.
Very, very excited. So this month is crazy. For the last year and a half, we've had one show, right? And then starting in November, we kind of started the Kyber, the cosplay build. So now we have officially 2 shows. We have Kyber Cave presents Saber Rattle. Then we have cosplay build at the Kyber Cave featuring Darkside Saber. This 3rd show we just started Friday night was Kyber Cave After Dark. And our 4th show, dude, we have no personal life. You can see how lonely and like pathetic our lives are. We don't actually go out and do things. We just do shows.
Yeah.
Tell them about our 4th show that's going to be coming up since it's your show.
It is. So I am making a Kyber Cave Gaming.
Woohoo!
I've just installed Steam on my computer, so we're gonna have all sorts of different games, all sorts of cool, fun stuff to do. We might also have some appearances from Van, who has never played video games in his life.
Okay, it's not that I've never played video games. I just suck at it, so I don't often play.
Yeah, no, you suck at it. So
Right.
we'd have
My
him
son
on
is back
just
there.
to-
He'll tell you that.
We'll might have him on, maybe having his own little side series, trying just to figure out how to play a game.
Oh, what are you going to do? Another channel called Kyber Cave Raging Channel?
Shoot, we might as well make
Just
a
all
rage
rage
room.
videos of my kid playing video game, throwing controllers across the room.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, as we were talking about that cosplay build show, I just wanted to show off. This is my lovely helmet. Now, we didn't build this helmet during the cosplay. This is I bought this from Pilot's Bay. He did excellent work, and he actually did a custom color for me, a little bit of lighter blue than he uses. This is Carson Teva from The Mandalorian. But what we did do on the cosplay build, if you watched our last show, is we added all this foam on the inside. And when I say we, I mean Dawn at Darkside added this foam to give it to make it a lot more comfortable. And also, when I first put this helmet on, it would, every time I turned my head, it would just rotate and wobble. So now it is a beautiful, beautiful fit. We did that, and we also did, I just have the lining on the top to do, but you can see the lining that has been done on the inside. This is for my Marvin the Mandalorian cosplay that I'm working on. So it's going to be a crossover of Marvin the Martian and Mandalorian. So we need to put the top in, and then we're going to glue all these down. But then this helmet will be almost ready to go. The only thing it will need is just the brush on top for like Marvin the Martian.
Looking good.
Woohoo. And I'm going to show off my other toy after our interview. Other thing I'm excited about.
Ooh.
But for now, let's get we have something exciting. You want to explain what's going on for our Flow of the Show segment?
So our Flow of the Show segment tonight is all the submissions for Spin Wars.
And what is Spin Wars?
Ooh, I don't have that. Basically, it's a competition, or
By
it's by Darth Cephalus, Gary Ripper, and one other person. I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
And they have this competition, and people submit videos of them doing spin, basically, or flow.
Right.
And shoot, I don't have the thing up. There was a whole thing that James sent saying that voting is open for the videos. So
Voting's open now?
Yeah, voting is open now.
Okay.
So you can go and vote on the videos and for who was your favorite artist. And then you can that person will be selected as winner sometime in the next month or two. I'm not positive on the time frame on that.
So this is just a compilation of all of them. So if you're interested in finding out who the different people were, I know in the description Ezra has listed the different artists that we have that are in that video, right?
Yes, they are listed in order from when they are shown, and also their channels is either below or next to their name.
Oh, wow, you put in a lot of work. All right, well, again, as always, we are very fortunate to have Darth Cephalus as a producer, James Kaiser on the show. He brings us a fantastic flow of the show every week. Usually this segment is about 1.5 to 2 minutes long. Because we are showing a variety of artists, this segment's going to be roughly 5 minutes long or so. So it is longer than normal. So just hang in there. But as soon as we're done with the flow of the show, we are going to get into our fantastic interview. So with no further ado, let's see some flow, yo. Woohoo! Dude, I love Christian. Christian is always smiling, dude. I don't think I've
Christian's
never
always
not seen Christian smiling.
right. He always just like brightens up the whole mood.
That was fantastic. So, if you liked what you saw, please check out James Kaiser's page, Darth Cephalus,
Yes.
and you can find out more information about where you can go and vote for your favorite artist on that Spin Wars competition. I don't know what kind of prize you're gonna get, but if Gary Ripper's involved, I'm sure it's pretty good. Yeah.
Shoot, I lost my train of thought.
Well, are we?
There was one guy. It was the last dude. He was doing all of that right in front of his TV.
Right.
That was my nerves were on like point because I've lightly tapped my TV and it's broken before. So that entire thing was just like, oh my gosh.
And for those people that may or may not know, these are not plastic Walmart toys. These are heavy metal. The blades are made out of the same material that they make police riot shields out of. So it's easy to do a lot of damage, especially if you're doing it, in a low ceilinged room. If you've got light fixtures, televisions, small children.
I've seen YouTube compilations of some guy. He hit a chandelier above his head and broke a chandelier.
Oh,
the chandelier
man.
came out of the ceiling and hit him on the head.
Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you got enough views to cover the hospital visit on that one. All right, so we are running a little bit even further behind with our guests than I told. I told our guests it'd be probably around the 15-minute mark. I'm looking at it's at the 22-minute mark now. But you know what? That's okay. That's how this is our first show back for the year. And we're just gonna rock it. So are we ready to get into this main interview?
Yes.
I am very excited about this interview. This was a message that this whole thing started off such a weird thing. When we were doing our cosplay build show, Steve Jordan was kind of like a guest host we had on that show while we were building the cosplay show. And somehow and he remembers he had messaged up, but somehow got the conversation turned to drag, and I was like, wow, I never really thought about it, but drag is kind of like some of the first cosplayers, and so I really wanted to explore that topic and find a well, hello, is that a Twitch? Is that purple thing Twitch?
That purple thing is Twitch.
Well, hello on Twitch. I'm not used to seeing Twitch people pop up. Thank you, and please subscribe. So I wanted to talk to, a drag queen and find out, what are the differences? What are the similarities between drag and cosplay, and just learn more about it, because I'll tell you what, I don't know anything about drag, to be honest with you. So please, with no further ado, give it up for Rubix Q Arcana. Yeah, get it. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I am doing fantastic. It's a little bit cold here in Vacaville, but you look absolutely fantastic.
Well, thank you. I don't always get ready and drag after work, but when I do, I'm not wearing a cincher. Now, it's lovely to have you have me on here. I'm like super excited about this. Like, as soon as I saw the little post about like, oh, they're looking for a drag queen to talk about cosplay, I'm like, that's me. Get me in there.
Well, let's just get right into it. I really want to know, is there a difference between drag? I don't know. What is the official, you call it dragging, or is there a difference between doing drag and doing cosplay?
I think the current best terminology is just drag entertainer.
Drag entertainer.
There's more than one type of drag. Before, 25, 30 years ago, if you were to say a drag entertainer, it would just be assumed that it's a man who dresses as a woman and goes out on stage. Today, it's not nearly like that. There's drag queens, there's drag kings, there's biological women that dress as drag queens and are stunning as well.
Really?
There's a lot of trans entertainers. So, I mean, there's a lot of nuance to what constitutes drag.
Okay.
But basically, the idea is that anybody can be a drag entertainer. Anybody should, if they want to, pursue it, because it's really the ability to go out there and just like perform.
Right.
One of the main reasons why I got into drag, I saw Drag Race and was like, oh, this is a thing. Like, I can do this.
Right.
But beyond that, it's the idea that I can go out there and be my own director and costumer, and not that I'm a very good choreographer, but choreographer, and just put up together like a 6-minute show.
Right. Would you say that's the biggest difference between, say, traditional cosplay, like if I were to go to a Comic-Con convention and say a drag show? Is it that it's not just putting on the costume, it's a whole performance that you're putting together, right?
Yes. I mean, if you're performing at a space, then yes. And that could be anything from lip syncing to singing live. I do a lot of live singing myself. Or there's been a number of entertainers that have done like burlesque or oh God, what is that thing with the ring? Like ring dancing and things. So I've seen a lot of it. I've seen it all. And drag has certainly gained a lot of momentum in the last decade or so, where before, I've been doing it for 8 years. And when I was younger, going to clubs at 18, 19, it'd be like an 18 up night, and it'd be on a Wednesday. Right. And one drag entertainer would perform a song at midnight in the middle of the dance floor. Now you go to any club that is gay friendly, and they probably have drag show like 3 times a week. Wow. And there's 6 entertainers each time. Right. So it's definitely grown and transformed into a much more commonplace thing.
Right.
You certainly can find a lot more people who are getting their feet wet into it.
Right.
And pursuing their drag persona or their drag career.
Right.
The one big thing I will say is that a lot of the kids today don't really understand or respect the fact that the kids that did it before them, like myself, or people who are even older, we didn't just get bookings just because we threw some makeup on our face.
Right.
Look, if you look at some pictures of me from back when I was starting out, I thought I was cute. I look back and realize I was wrong.
Well, that means you're growing, right?
Huh?
That means you're growing. If you can't look back at your old art and say, man, that was terrible, then that means you're not growing as an artist.
Exactly. And that's the thing. So, and people have to, especially in the drag world, I always am telling people, it's not a competition with each other. It's a competition of your own growth, and just setting that bar a little higher each time to continuously grow. A lot of kids, unfortunately, get very stagnated into the mindset of oh, I need to have this brand. I need to be all about this one thing. And then that's all they do. They never really go beyond that. And it's usually, especially with Drag Race now, something that's you saw that on Drag Race, or they look like a Drag Race entertainer.
Right.
And there's certainly a lot more history and culture and things behind it beyond just RuPaul's Drag Race.
Right.
But I still give respect where it's due. And she opened the door for it to become something that's more commonplace.
And I was going to say, RuPaul is probably one of the first examples of where it really hit the mainstream, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's been a superstar since the 90s, and it's really creepy to think that was 30 years ago.
Wow.
I mean, it's creepy for me to think that I'm 36.
Right.
Morning creeping up on me fast. Why? But no joke. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie Tu Wong Fu, Thanks for Everything, Julie Newmar.
Right. Yes, I do. I remember that, actually. Yeah.
So that was my first experience as a child watching anything to do with drag. And it was because my dad had one of those black boxes that got all of the channels.
Right.
Not that he was supposed to, but that was one of those movies that one weekend was on repeat, because they would always do that. It'd be the same movie all day.
Right.
And it's like that or some movie I didn't want to see. So I just watched it 5 times. But I always loved how great that movie was, just because A, it's entertaining. B, I still can't believe that was Wesley Snipes giving one of the best performances. Like, he should have got an Oscar just for that one. I've met
Patrick
queens
Swayze
that act
was in that
exactly
one.
like Noxema.
John Leguizamo, I think, was in
John
that.
Leguizamo,
Right?
Patrick Swayze, and Wesley Snipes. And I mean, it was really a pioneering movie at the time, because again, this was back like right after the AIDS crisis.
Right.
You know, a lot of the times, especially drag entertainers, were kind of like a punchline or joke.
Right.
And that movie was funny, but it did take enough things seriously that, like, retrospectively, like, I could have a TED Talk about that movie all by itself.
Right. And how it kind of
I really wish
the
there was a
doors.
sequel. There should be a sequel. There should be a sequel where they find the picture, like some new queens, and then go to find Vita Boheme and find out she died from cancer, and, you know, make that thing. Make it happen. Make it happen, Hollywood. Star me in it. But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, more questions.
So let me ask you, when we're talking about this, and I want you to please forgive me for my ignorance, because I really don't know a lot about the history of drag and these sort of things. I assume, and you know, and if I'm wrong, please let me know. But when drag first started, it was mostly like gay men, right? But now you're saying it's really diversified into, I mean, you know, women doing women drag, and all different people of all different backgrounds coming into it. Do you think? Do you think that these changes have happened because of, say, RuPaul, or are there other things in our culture and environment that might have made it more socially acceptable now than it maybe was 30 years ago?
I will definitely say the diversity that we see now is not a result of RuPaul's Drag Race. RuPaul herself has very much stipulated that, you know, she didn't want trans contestants on her show, that she wasn't really interested in drag kings on her show, and she's gotten a lot of backlash for it. No, don't get me wrong. But it was because his mindset was always that, you know, it's a drag illusion. It's a female illusion that we're trying to present, like, and we're trying to find the best female impersonator. So to some extent, I see where she's coming from, where it's like, it's not really fair if it's somebody that comes in and they have, you know, all of the plastic surgery, or that they fully transitioned,
right?
Because, you know, where's the illusion? But since then, she has opened up those doors to people. I believe it was one of the recent All-Stars winners. Oh God, I forget her name. It's like Kylie Sonique something, but she was trans, and she won. She won that season. And there's been a number of entertainers that have come through those doors that have, since they've left the show, transitioned and have become super advocates for the community. So, I mean, she's changing her own mindset as it goes, and that's good, because obviously there's some growth there, but that's where it was stemming from. I feel like that there was something about that specifically, that just kind of made it hard for RuPaul to kind of wrap her head around that. What's funny is that I actually had a friend of mine who was from Project Runway. God, why is his name escaped? Chris March. So I met Chris March after I did that paper angel that you did during the intro, which I made entirely out of printer paper.
Wow.
That outfit cost me $20 to make.
Hey, Ezra, can you bring that picture back up?
Thank you. But as a result of that, somebody that we knew introduced me to him.
Well, I'm sorry. Hold on real quick, Rubix. Ezra, bring that picture back up. The paper, the one you had at the intro.
Okay.
The paper doll. Yes, that one. Tell me about this again. You said you made that for $20?
So that is literally a package of printer paper that I bought from a Walgreens, and then a couple of things of not cardboard, like poster board from the Dollar Tree.
Oh my goodness.
And then I did all the origami myself. I cut out all the flowers. I cut out all the feathers. And then I just happen to have the rhinestones already. And then that's a newspaper wig that I basically made out of a Party City afro.
Wow. That is amazing. All right, drop the picture, Ez.
Kind of crazy. But yeah, as a result of that, I met Chris March. He was actually hospitalized at the time because he had had an injury happen. Terrible long story. He was like paralyzed on like half of his body. But anywho,
Oof.
Project Runway superstar, was on All Stars. It was such an honor to be a friend in his life. He unfortunately passed away a few years ago. But he did have some stories about RuPaul from his All Stars day, and it was that she did not like his sense of drag, and it was because he was overly campy. Like there's campy and there's glamour.
Right.
I like to think I fit a little in between.
Right.
Chris March was the type that would have like the full-on opera, like super bullhorn thing, and then like boobs out to here that were like giant beach volleyballs. So there was definitely an aesthetic choice that they did not see eye to eye on. Right. But it was really cute. I got to hear all the tea about the backstage things, like this is why RuPaul hates me. It was adorable.
Well, you know, I find this very interesting. Okay, so we just had we just did a show Friday night. It was our first show. It was Kyber Cave After Dark, and the topic, the title of the show is "Why Are Cosplayers D-bags?" And so, but what it was that we were talking about was, why are some cosplayers so toxic? Why is there gatekeeping, right? Like, if we're all in this group together, if we're all just here to have fun, why do some people tell other people what you can and cannot do? It sounds like you deal with that as well.
Preach to the choir. Yes, and absolutely. You know what? I'm not going to lie. I've been bullied pretty much my entire life as a kid, especially being a young gay kid in the, early 80s to 90s and whatnot. A, not big and openly, acceptable.
Right.
B, I didn't even know what the hell that was at the time.
And I just want to let people know, too, I don't mean to cut you off, but we, for people, because this is an international show, so we get people, we had someone on from New Zealand on the other night, but we are in California, so a lot of times people think California is just like gay people everywhere, right? And that it's the most socially accepted place for, but, obviously with your story, that's not the case.
No, see, I grew up in a little town called Lodi. You may have known it from a CCR song, oh Lord, stuck in Lodi again. I'm from that place. So I grew up in the countryside, and this is a very red zone. For the gay-centric areas of California, you have San Francisco,
right,
West Hollywood, and you have areas in like Sacramento that has like its own district.
Right.
Outside of that, there's not like a lot of gay mecca here. If you want that, you need to go to Utah at Salt Lake City, because that's where all the little Mormon gays go. That place. BYU. Boys Young and something.
Wow.
But I was bullied a lot. And what you're talking about there with the gatekeeping and the toxic mentalities, the sad truth is that a lot of people, again, take it as a competition. Like everybody's out to be the better one than the other ones. Like I need to be the biggest person in this area. And there's a lot of cliquey behavior. There's a lot of drama that happens as a result of that. Like, and again, I've been bullied out of my own community to some extent because I don't tolerate nonsense. I don't give fealty to people just because they demand it. For me, respect is a two-way street. You can respect me for the craft that I do, and I can respect you for the craft that you do, but it's not an automatic given. You don't get to talk down to me when you don't pay my bills.
Right.
You don't provide for what I do. And one of the things that made me kind of an enemy, I think, to a lot of the other queens in my area is that I have my crap together. I build all my own stuff. I style my own hair. I do my own makeup. I, have a good credit score. I have a car. I have a house. I have a partner of over a decade. That's something that a lot of them cannot claim to.
Right.
And at the end of the day, like I've always said to some of them, like, look, I'm not going to argue with people that can't support themselves like a full-grown adult. And if you're 25, you should be able to support yourself.
Right.
but yeah, a lot of them play games. They all like to play games. They all like to talk. And the thing I've gotten a lot from people over the years is that apparently I'm very standoffish or that I'm very intimidating, which I've always found interesting because anybody who's ever actually approached me and tried to talk to me, I love everyone. If you come and talk to me and want to like chat, hey, can I have a picture? Absolutely. You want a picture with me? Oh my God. Thank you so much. Like, you know, anybody who wants to give me the time of day, I soak that up like a sponge and I'll give it to them. So a lot of the times it really comes that people project their insecurities on others that do have that confidence. You know, and again, I don't really care what other people have to say. But it does suck that sometimes what other people have to say will impact my ability to do what I do because I love it. I don't do this to pay my bills. I do this because I love it. And that's a significant difference.
Right. Do you, very interestingly, like, so for example, I would love to get your take. And I've seen this in California, and probably not recently, but about 2 or 3 years ago, there was a really big backlash because they were doing drag queen library, like preschool reading, story time, but with drag queens. How do you feel about that? I thought I was not against it because I don't necessarily see drag as a sexual thing. I feel like a lot of times the mainstream sexualizes things that aren't necessarily sexual. If you feel comfortable in dress like this, that's just who you are. It doesn't have to necessarily be a sexual thing. Am I wrong about that, or are they tied together?
No, I don't think you're wrong. I will say that I've been conflicted on this myself, mainly because you're right. It shouldn't be a sexualized thing. However, a number of queens that have gone to do these things don't dress the part to not look sexualized. Like they're literally going there in this cocktail dress or something that does kind of show the sexuality to it. You know, if I was to ever do a library reading, I'd go dressed as a Disney princess and read that story.
Right, like Snow White or something.
Well, yeah. And the other part of that, I will have to say, yeah, thank you, my Snow White.
Woo-hoo.
I probably wouldn't do that look per se. just because that's like my thirst trap one for the boys in New York who are straight. Those are fun messages. But anywho, when it comes to like the reading and whatnot, I'm for the idea of normalizing, you know, someone who wants to dress up as like what we do.
Right.
That's fine. I don't approve of the idea of pushing the current ideology, because that's what I see it as an ideology,
right,
upon like the preschoolers.
Right.
We should not be teaching 5-year-olds about sexuality,
right,
or what gender autonomy is, or being trans, because those aren't things that they need to be concerned about. Let kids be kids.
Right.
Those lessons need to be taught to the parents.
Yes.
That's the thing
Preach
a lot
on.
of people don't understand. These things that you like, understanding gender identity, understanding kids being queer, understanding that sexuality aspect. Those things are things that, you know, we need to teach the parents, which they can learn through things like PFLAG, which is an organization. PFLAG is an organization that brings together parents of LGBTQ people. And it kind of gives them a forum to understand, like, hey, we're not alone in this. Like, even my mom, like, she has a real hard time getting on board. Like, she's made strides and progress. Like, she's to the point where she can, you know, support me and be happy, but it took a minute. It took a long time to get to that road. Right. You know, when I first came out to her, like, her first question to me was, well, do you need therapy?
How old were you when you came out, if you don't mind me asking?
I was with her. So I was in the closet for a minute. I think I was about 25.
Oh, wow.
So, but the fun thing is that, you know, we can now look back and retroactively be like, so when did you really know I was gay? And she's like, oh, bitch, we knew when you were 5. Like, There was a time that I was like 7 or 8 and she caught me wearing pantyhose. And I told her it's because I was cold. The sad truth is I wanted to look like Chun-Li.
But you know, this is interesting because I used to be a preschool teacher before I opened the lightsaber store. I was a preschool teacher, and I myself am not gay. I have many friends that are gay, but I try to get straight parents to see the other perspective, because when I hear them like, oh, I don't want, gay people around my kids, or they talk about this. Conversation came up when we were talking about the drag queens reading to preschoolers. But I was saying, a lot of times straight parents don't realize they do the same. They sexualize their own children, but because it's so normalized in the culture, they don't know they're doing it. And one example is, like I'm just as guilty of this before I realized what I was doing. But I'd put my, shirt and, my son in, a shirt that says the most handsome little boy, or like, I'd see my son playing with a little girl, or somebody would see their son playing with a little girl and say, oh, is that your girlfriend? Right? Like, they don't realize that they're actually sexualizing things, even though they're doing it unintentionally. And I was just saying, there's two sides of this. I personally feel like, we need to show everybody that's out there. I'm not saying that you should grow up to be gay or to become a drag queen or be this thing, but I want you to know these people exist, so that when you run across somebody that's like that, it's, it's not strange for you.
Well, yeah. And the important thing on that note is that I always like to tell people that there's nothing wrong with being different. If anything, that makes you a little bit more interesting. And on that note, with kids and how people do those things, I know they think they're being cute. Oh, is that your little girlfriend? I mean, right. I had that all the time as a kid too. But I think it's important to have that conversation, as a society. Like, if you start to notice that your little boy wants to play with Barbies, he might end up actually being
right. Right. And on the flip side too, it doesn't necessarily mean that.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Right.
And that's, I think, the thing that should be taken into importance right now is that, we need to understand that gender roles aren't necessary.
Yes.
So one of the things that gave me the biggest, weight off of my shoulders with coming to terms with who I am is that just because I like to dress like this, or just because my partner is of the same sex, it doesn't make me any less of a man.
Right. Right.
And, I'm fine with the fact that I identify with that. I can find beauty within my own body, and I can still do something like this and feel beautiful. It doesn't change the fact that, I am comfortable being a man, and I'm comfortable being a gay man who dresses as a woman for fun.
Right.
That's still a different journey than, say, a trans woman. A trans woman isn't just dressing up and taking it off. That is her identity. That's who she is.
So for you, it's more like a hobby or something you enjoy doing, like on the weekend or something, but it's not who you are 24 hours a day.
This is not my day-to-day. Rubix is not my everlasting persona. That's not who I am as a person. At the same time, this persona is just an extension of me. Like, it doesn't change the fact that this is how I act on a regular basis. Like, if anything, I get a bit more emboldened when I dress up. Like, that was my mother's concern. It was like, I'm just so scared for you. I'm scared with how the world is going to treat you. Right. And it's like, Mom, I've taken 5 different martial arts, and trust, as soon as I walk out the door in this war paint, I'm ready to kick some ass and take names no matter what. I will beat up a stranger in my go-go boots if I have to. And I'm ready to do that because, please, try me.
Right.
Try me. Come up to me with your, okay, you want to pop off? Let's go.
Right.
Let's go. Watch someone cuter than anyone you could ever date in your life beat the ever-living crap out of you. And then film it and put it on YouTube.
Right. Now, let me ask you, so the people that are coming to these shows, do you find, you're saying that you're seeing more diversity in the people that are coming in as entertainers. Is there more diversity in the audience as well? Or is that kind of staying?
I think that the audience has always been diverse. And there has been a bit of a side talk about, straight people entering the queer spaces, and people have an issue with that. But if they're an ally, I don't know why you would care. Like, I want my friends to come see my show, and a good number of them happen to be straight.
Right.
So as long as they're respectful to everybody else who's there, it shouldn't be an issue.
Right.
But as far as the diversity, like I've seen nothing but mixed crowds of all sorts of faces, all sorts of creeds, colors, ethnicities, genders, what have you.
Right.
I mean, and for the most part, I think like the crowd is always really, really cool. All the people that come to the shows are very like so energetic and like so excited to see somebody in drag, and like that for them is like this big star moment. And I live for that. I live for the fact that people just like light up and like, oh my God, you're so amazing, you're so great, I just want to take a picture with you, you're so pretty. Like, that's awesome.
Right.
It's the drag entertainers themselves that kind of become catty and cliquey, and they all act like it's Mean Girls. And
right.
It's adorable that we have shows like Pose, where you live for the scenes where they read each other for filth. But the second that you do that as an actual drag entertainer, well, now you're problematic.
Oh wow.
It's okay to give somebody an Emmy for it, but do it in real life, well, now we hate you.
Right. Right.
And again, a lot of it comes down to internal competition with being the HBIC.
Right.
I don't know if you know what that acronym stands for.
Yes, I do.
Okay, so good. Point taken.
The head person in charge. Let's just say that.
Yes. and my whole thing is I've never been about that life. I'm not out there to take anyone else's spotlight. I'm not there to dethrone anybody. I don't really go out and be like, I want to be the person in charge. Like, no, I just want to show up and have a good time and do what I do, which is tell a 6-minute story on stage.
Right.
But that's why I have fun, like making my mixes and why I do incorporate a lot of cosplay into my drag.
Right.
Even just getting ready for this, I realized just how much cosplay I do.
Right.
Apparently, I have a thing. It's my niche.
Well, let's talk about that really quickly, because I myself have never been to a drag show. I know it's you're getting in costume, but you make your own costumes and you design your performance, or how exactly? What all is? Tell me all about it, girl.
So I make a good number of my costumes, but for the most part, what I do is like I modify things that I buy.
Right.
So like, case in point, this costume, Black Cat, circa
Woo-hoo!
1993, we'll say, back when I first was introduced to the character. Highly underrated character that really should have already been in a Marvel movie. I'm happy to hear that she's coming for the next Spider-Man, because it's about freaking time.
Right.
But like this, I bought this basic cat suit. And then I glued on all of the fur. I attached the gloves and this. I had boots that were attached I had to rip off because they didn't fit my feet anymore. But yeah, like it's styling your hair. You can either hire somebody who's better with your wig skills, or you could do it yourself. And I have limited wiggetry skills.
Right.
My bitchcraft is on point. But outside of that, like the Paper Angel, totally made that 100% myself.
Wow.
I did take a lot of costuming and set design in college, and I even costumed the entire production of The Little Mermaid in Stockton, where I was also playing Prince Eric at the same time. So like that whole thing, it was special because I told them when they were like, do you want to costume the show? And I said, yeah, but I'm trying out for Eric, right? Oh, okay. And then like the day after, like, why are you out there with everybody else? Because I'm trying for Eric, remember? Right. And it was one of those things that they're like, well, how are you going to do both? And I was like, well, I ain't concerned about playing the part.
Right.
I love the movie. I love this character. That's a cakewalk. The costuming, on the other hand, that was a challenge. I signed on thinking that was going to be like 43 costumes from what I counted from the movie.
Yeah.
96.
Jeez.
I had 96 costumes to produce in 2 months' time.
Oh my God.
And they didn't want to give me my budget in advance. They wanted me to like turn all my receipts in at the end. And I was like, hi,
Yeah,
I'm not
no.
65 and retired. My husband does not have a pension, and I don't do this already for fun.
Right.
I work full time and I live paycheck to paycheck. You have to cut me a check.
Right.
So I kind of put them in a position of like, you're either going to give me some of the money now so I can get started, or you're going to find another customer, and they cut me a check.
Right.
I will say I'm very proud that I did get nominated for an Ellie for that run, which is like a regional thing for the Valley. So it's not just like Stockton. It was like Stockton, Sacramento, Lodi, Galt, everything in between. Just getting that alone for a first time production, I was just so ecstatic. I did not win. Right. I did not win.
But you were nominated. That's what matters.
I got nominated. I was up against 1776, and those period costumes I just couldn't compete with. But again, I'm very unconventional. There's a lot of different unconventional things I've come up with. I think there's a plastic dress picture I sent you guys.
Do we have that, Ezra?
One where I'm covered with a bunch of sea urchins.
Hold on real quick. Ezra! He's looking for it.
It's okay. I'll talk about it. So that one right there is my Mother Nature. All of those vines are actually made out of ribbon.
Oh wow! Is that your back? Is that showing your back? Or?
And then like did the leaves individually, and that was a technique I used during Little Mermaid to make willow trees.
Is this the back of the costume?
That's the back of the costume.
Okay.
So yeah, that was kind of like my way of doing like a Mother Nature fringe.
Right.
And then the headpiece I had done entirely myself out of like masking tape and a bunch of fake flowers from the craft stores. Again, I did this one plastic dress that was all done out of the curtain liner sheets from the dollar store.
Wow.
And then I think all outside of the box, like anytime that we would have a theme that I could play with and be a little different, that's what I do. So like, for instance, my
sorry.
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask you because I haven't been to a drag show. You say a 6-minute performance, but now is that usually typically like a singing thing, or is it like acting, or can people do whatever they want in that 6 minutes, or what is that 6 minutes about?
Yes. So fun enough fact, I'm probably one of the few people that really pushes that 6 minutes. Normally, everybody else is like 3 to 4 minutes. And most queens, I'm not going to lie, most kings and queens will just do a song. They'll do a song from the top 100 charts or whatever's popular at the moment.
Okay.
Or some throwback.
Dressed in some kind of a costume.
Or whatever. Myself, on the other hand, we're usually given like a 6 minutes max is what you're allowed to have.
Right.
And I push that barrier as much as I can. If I'm going to spend 2.5 hours to get up like this, believe I am maximizing my time to get all that point on that stage.
Right.
But again, because I do so many characters, like I want to tell the entire story that I can.
Oh, wow.
So for instance, I did one of the other mother from Coraline recently.
Right.
I tried to get in as much dialogue that character has. I had all the little props, like with her little buttons in the box. But the song mix I did was "Call Me Mother" from RuPaul. So it's like a play on words and having fun with it. And then there was like another mix from a queen like Aja that was called Brujeria. And it was all about like witchcraft and stuff, but it all flowed in the same mix. So it kind of all tells the story.
Wow.
One of my favorite ones is actually one I did with my husband. We did the character of Gabriel from Constantine. Have you seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
Oh my God, you haven't seen Constantine?
I have no life.
Do yourself a favor. It's like 12 years old.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
The Keanu Reeves movie, right?
Buff was relevant. It was great. But no, so Constantine, thank you. Other mother right there.
Woo, I love it.
So Constantine is kind of like it was based off of a graphic novel, I believe. And it's all about like this demon exorcist guy. And so Gabriel is this like angel that he interacts with that, spoiler alert, near the end turns out to be the bad guy. Mm-hmm. Her whole thing is that she's trying to, cleanse the earth of these wretched souls that don't deserve God's love. And by putting them through hell, they're going to rise to the occasion. Yeah. Again, I tell like the whole story of that character in that moment. Hi, Kitty. My cat decided to say hi.
Hello.
And then my husband came out as Lucifer. at the end, dressed like the character, and it was fun because we were able to take a lot of the storyline and fit it into this song by Purity Ring called "Begin Again."
Oh wow!
And then threw things all together with like the dagger and everything. So it's a lot of fun.
So with you, it's like a little mini play, huh?
Well, yeah, and a lot of that does come from the fact that I am a theater kid. I've been doing theater since I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
Since, you know, I've graduated from high school and whatnot, I went to college. That was one of my disciplines, was the set design and costumes as well as the acting. Oh, look at this little bugger. He's just...
Hello, kitty.
This is Loki.
Oh,
He's my little mischievous boy. He has the most
Loki.
annoying meow that you'll ever hear. But it's... I still love him. He's my little silver kitty. Oh, yeah, go over there. But yeah, so I did a lot of acting, and I still do. I'm actually currently a participating member of the Missouri Street Theater Company in Fairfield.
Yeah, I actually used to do a show from there. That's like right.
Really? So do you know Day?
Yeah, I do know Day and Pam.
Oh my God!
Yeah, we used to do a poetry show out of there called Life Sentence. We were America's first webcast poetry slam show that we used to do out of Missouri Street. Oh yeah,
that is such a trip. Okay, so I am a regular member over there. I usually do about 2 shows a year, just because, you know, I do work. I work as a bartender, which means my nights are my money. And the great thing about them is that they do pay their actors. They pay me pretty well for any show that I've ever been a part with. And then it's always like they know what I can do. So it's like, hey, can you do this part for this much during this time? Are you available? And it's a yes or a no, and they're cool either way. They'll call me back if I say no for something else, or, you know, I do that show and then I just say, hey, don't do something I'm going to really like after this because I can't do back to back. But I just recently did my second stint of Rocky Horror with them in October.
Yeah.
So I played Frankenfurter twice.
Okay.
And each year they do a different theme. And the first year it was a Christmas theme, which really threw me for a loop. I was like, how do we make this work? But it was cute. It was like a big surprise. Like they didn't advertise it as Christmas. So when the curtain came up during There's a Light at Frankenstein Place, it was like Christmas threw up on that stage. And then when I came out, I was dressed as like Mrs. Claus, but with like a Marilyn Monroe wig coming out of a smoky chimney. It was adorable. And then just recently this year, we did a high school theme. So for my first entrance, I was Britney Spears' "Hit Me Baby One More Time." I think the only real reason that they like me in that role, though, is that I basically come with all of my own wardrobe. Like, oh yeah, I have something that works for this.
Definitely saves them on their wardrobe.
Paid more for that.
Well, you'll have to let me know next time you have a shop. I mean, like I literally live 5 minutes from Missouri Street.
Oh, excellent.
Or next time you have a show.
For sure, the next thing I know I'm going to be a part of is Matilda.
Okay.
I
don't
think that's happening until summer.
Okay.
So it's
I will look out for it.
July. I don't know. But I am going to play Miss Trunchbull. This was actually the show that we were about to open when the first shutdown hit. It was literally Tech Week. We were opening that weekend, and then the entire world shut down.
Right.
So at first they were hopeful, like, okay, we're going to be on hiatus for a few weeks, keep practicing. And then, of course, month after month rolled by, and then eventually it was like, nope, we got to cancel this show because now all of the little kids that were cast have grown up and now can't play the little kids.
Right.
And that's the other great thing about that theater is that they have a really strong children's theater company.
Right.
Do all versions of Matilda go the same? The stage show is different from the movie, and typically, no matter what, the role of Miss Trunchbull is always played by a man in drag. I don't think it's meant to be a way of like making her look mannish or ugly. It's the fact that she needs to be this big, overwhelming presence. And even for when I'm doing it, the costume I built has this like body muscle suit. Because she's supposed to be this like Olympic athlete that was like the master of the hammer throw. So I mean, I have like massive arms as well as like boobs that go down to here. But it is supposed to just be this really imposing person. The same could be true though for like shows like Hairspray. Like the mother's always typically cast as a drag queen, not for any other reason than it works for that show. If I ever did Edna Turnblad, I would totally do this voice right here. Regina McIntyre. It's Regina, not Regina. All right. She's from Queens, New York, and she's the girl that gets it. It's great. So that's a show I would love to do, but I was recently told that Day absolutely hates that show, so it's never gonna happen there. Oh, like, really? John Waters is so good. She also
Phoenix was just asking, do you do other voices as well? The Phoenix here is one of the comments is asking if you do other voices. Do you do voice acting as well? Do you do that for different characters?
You know what? I really wish I could get into voice acting because I have a friend who does it, and it's one of those things I totally like to play around with. So one is Ellen Green from Little Shop of Horrors. I've actually sung that live, and it's funny because Ellen Green has that very type of high-pitched voice.
Right.
Up there in the upper register. And so to sing, it's like, somewhere that's green.
Wow.
Outside of that, I've also sung a lot of Ursula. That's one of my favorite go-tos. I do a lot of Disney.
Right.
But like that's a character that's classically a drag queen. It's based off of Divine. So, to come out and they're like, the only way to get to what you want is to become a human yourself. It like plays into it. Thank you. The other thing I really like playing around with is accents.
Right.
Back when I first started working as a server, I would have British days. It's like, hello there, welcome to Chili's. My name's Anthony. I'll be helping you today. What can I get for you? It's like they'd be like, oh, where are you from? Oh, I'm from a place called Milton Keynes. It's like 40 kilometers from London. It's lovely. It's concrete jungle. It is. Yes. And that got me in trouble once because I actually had a table of people from Milton Keynes. That was like, okay, gigs up. Sorry, I was making that. And then during the shutdown, I was working at Walmart, and I would randomly go Irish. Or just be like, hello there. Would you like a bag today? What? Did you want a bag for your groceries, Mom? How are you doing? That'll be 13. And so I always just get like people always like, oh, where are you from? So the fact that I can convince them is hilarious. Dress etiquette in modern era, we're going to see plenty of things.
I wonder about the question because I guess people used to really dress up as audience members, but maybe nowadays people are more casual. I'm guessing. I'm wondering if that's what that question is about.
I think so. If anything, it's more classy casual. Like you can wear jeans, but I would prefer that you wear a dress shirt. A lot of people just wear whatever they normally would. It is rather casual now. I will say that considering the pandemic and everything opening back up, they do ask that you wear masks if you're not like eating or drinking anything. Right. For the most part, that has been respected. They have also done things where they'll like, socially distance people by groups. They have like, the 5 tickets that are together, and then like everybody else is 3 seats away from them. Outside of that, like during the shutdown, it was crazy because in order for the theater to kind of keep itself alive, they had to do something. So did a few concert shows that they did, video live, and we all socially distanced and came out one at a time and did some fun stuff like that. To answer Phoenix's question, yes, I've done Rocky Horror twice. We were talking about that a little bit earlier. Right. It's one of those shows that I want to do all the time, but at the same time, I don't always want to be Frankfurter, even though like that's the most amazing feeling. At the end, and like everyone losing their mind because, oh my God, it's Frankfurter.
Wow, I didn't even think about that. We were talking about Tu Wong Fu earlier, but actually, Dr. Frankenfurter's the original. Even much for when did Rocky Horror come out? This 80s, like
78. Like it was in the 70s.
Yeah, that was the late 70s, I think. So that would have been another major example of a drag queen in popular Tim Curry in popular culture.
Well, and the crazy thing is to think that was like the start of Susan Sarandon's career,
right?
And oh god, which one of the brothers was it? The one from Beetlejuice.
Michael Keaton?
No, it's not Michael Keaton. It's the guy that played the husband.
Oh,
I'm so bad with names. It's the one that just got in trouble because he shot somebody.
Oh, Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin, yes.
Right.
So it was them. It was the three of them. It was Tim Curry, Susan Sarandon, and Alec Baldwin. And it's a trip to see them all so young and like fresh faced, and like that was when they were unknown.
Right.
To date, one of my favorite Tim Curry performances, though, is still the voice of the monster in Fern Gully.
Yes.
I love that movie too. I grew up in the right era because it was that Captain Planet and Magic School Bus that were like, fight for the planet,
right.
Human beings, like actually like people, learn stuff. Like,
right.
I'm so blessed that I grew up in an era where I was getting to be entertained and educated in a very healthy setting. Like all of those shows were fantastic for that.
Right.
And did show a lot of diversity. And were very progressive for their time, and could be watched today and still have value to them.
Right. Claus Cat, aka Steven, is saying 1975 is when Rocky Horror.
Okay, you're right. It is 1975.
But very interestingly on that, and after this, we're going to start wrapping up here in a second. But you did grow up, considering how old you are. You did grow up in a very, I would say, interesting time period for say gay rights, because we were coming out of the whole AIDS thing where, President Reagan caught a lot of flack for not, presenting it and letting it really be known. And, but when you would have been growing up, that would have been the time period where, because I remember when I was high school, I graduated, I'm older. I graduated in 92. Right. But I know it was shortly after that. I want to say it was probably 3 or 4 years after that they got the first LGBTQ club on campus. So when I was there, it still wasn't really talked about. You had friends that you knew were gay, but it wasn't like really socially talked about. But it wasn't, but just a couple of years later that it seemed like the doors started opening up for people of all different sexualities.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, the gay scene was entirely different from when I was first coming into it to where it is now. Mm-hmm. Back then, again, not as many people were involved in. Again, a lot of people were scared to come out, or really deep in the closet just because of parental issues or other family things. And so it was just a much different scene. It was a lot of like the older guys, and then a lot of the like young twink kids that were like clearly out there, but not like what it is today. We didn't have the hookup apps. We didn't have that kind of culture going on. I mean, there's things like out there that you could research, but we're not going to go into because it's family friendly. But for the most part, again, it wasn't the same as it is now. And the thing that I think a lot of kids that are like 25 and under take for granted is just how much work was done from the generations before them, because like even the
Harvey Milk
was a huge difference. Again, AIDS crisis was a massive, huge deal, and Reagan didn't get involved until his good friend came out with AIDS. That's the only time that they started really paying attention, was when all of a sudden, oh, you mean like straight people have it too? Oh, snap! So we have to care about this now. Okay. There's actually a really good Netflix documentary called Circus of Books that talks a lot about that too. And again, I grew up with stories like Matthew Shepard, which terrifies children. That it was a time and an age where like you could be beat up to an inch within your life if people knew, if you weren't in the safe environment, if you didn't have the right people around you. So and again, my high school wasn't the most open or accepting. I think there was like maybe 3 other kids like me, and again, everybody else knew I was gay before I did. so they all saw it, and I was like, "What are you talking about? I like that girl. She has such pretty hair." Like,
Right.
But yeah,
But
it's
do you
just a
think
different day and age.
do you think things are changing for the better now? Is it more now that it's
Absolutely.
more out there? Is it more comfortable?
Absolutely. And again, shows like Modern Family really did a great job with integrating these things into a sitcom mindset for the average American to digest. You know, before we had Will and Grace, which was the gay sitcom.
Right.
But Modern Family brought it more into okay, this is like a family unit that has this. And that's something that a lot of people can relate to because everyone's got that one gay cousin.
Right.
That was me for the longest time. What's cute is that I had a family member that before he came out, I knew he was gay. And so when my mom finally said something like, "Oh yeah, did you hear that so and so came out?" I was like, "Oh, it's about time." That queen. And she's like, "How did you know?" I was like, "Mother, we went to a Thanksgiving event where he looked at his phone like this. It's a dead giveaway." Like, and that kind of comes back to what we were talking about earlier. There are very clear indicators and signs that if you see those, it shouldn't surprise you when your kid comes to you and says, "By the way, I'm gay."
Right.
Yeah, I know. I saw your My Pony collection. It's great. It's fine. I love you. And the most important thing that any parent can do, just love your kid. Love your kid unconditionally.
Right.
If they end up being trans, I'm guessing you saw those signs ahead of time.
Right.
You know, if they're going to be gay, you probably saw those signs ahead of time. There's a lot of them.
Conversely, I do want to say too, like I said, because I was a preschool teacher, just because you see signs of like, because I was,
it's nothing set in stone.
Right. I was an advocate for my little boys playing with baby dolls and to learning because, you know, you're going to be a father one day. You got to know how to change a diaper and how to feed your baby. It's not just a woman's job and then I've seen lately online, there's been, this one just blew my mind, but it was a meme of some woman saying something like, "Oh, you know, you guys are going to buy your kids like cooking sets, or you're going to buy your little boy. If I'm going to buy my little boy a cooking set, it's going to be a barbecue grill." You know what I mean? Like somehow food is only a male or female thing. So
they have heard of Chef Ramsay and Bobby Flay, right?
Right. Exactly. So I would just encourage parents to, to take the sexuality out of it and to realize that we are all just people, and it doesn't even really matter.
Well, no matter what, whatever your kid is into, if they have a passion for something, encourage it.
Yes.
My family saw that I was an art kid. I was drawing. I paint, I draw, I sing, I act, I dance. I'm an art kid. Like that's who I am. That's a big part of my being. That's why, like, first and foremost, beyond pronouns or anything, I'm an artist.
Right.
That's what I identify as, and it's important for people to really appreciate what kind of gifts your kids have and give them the venues to succeed in that. Introduce them to things that you think that they might be into. Like if you got a kid that's really like into music, like get them involved into a musical instrument. Give them an outlet.
Right.
Give them an outlet. Anytime, and I'm very fortunate that I had a kindergarten teacher myself because I had a Barbie. Mm-hmm. I had a Barbie at a young age. My mother was very adamant, like, don't take this to school. Kids will make fun of you. And of course, I didn't listen to her and I took it to school and kids made fun of me. But my teacher was the one like, hey, I want you to know that it's okay. Boys can play with Barbie dolls just like girls can play with trucks.
Right,
or with football. These things are just toys. They are meant for kids to enjoy. Right. And if your kid wants to play with something, let them play with it. As far as like the whole sexualization and whatnot, if your kid's into makeup, maybe don't give them a YouTube channel at the age of 8. That would be I wouldn't recommend. Right. And that's a thing I've seen too. Is that there's a new growing wave of like kids in drag.
Right.
I don't think that's a good idea. Right. I don't think that is healthy to expose young children to adults dressed like that. That's the same as like toddlers and tiaras. It's an over sexualization through the use of makeup and costuming of somebody who really shouldn't have that anyway right now. Like you have a puberty. If your kid wants to dress as Elsa for Halloween, let them. Right. If they want to play dress up at home, let them. If they want to create an Instagram account, maybe not.
Right.
And if they do want to become an influencer, get them the programs and the know-how, wherewithal to like learn those things. So when they are a little older, they can jump into those venues and be safe about it. But it's always good to be upfront also just with the dangers of the world. There are predators out there. I've watched way too many episodes of Catch Predator to know that is a thing. And even that was something that my mother was really, really scared of back in the day because the internet was a brand new thing.
Right.
And
it was like the Wild Wild West.
Well, yeah, we had dial-up. I remember those sounds. Get off the phone. But I was never really allowed to use the internet outside of like a school project because she was so concerned about predators.
Right.
And same thing. Like I said, I took 5 different kinds of self-defense in my time, and it's not because we should live in a society where we should fear other people. I'm more of I'd rather be armed for if something happens. Right. I'd rather be ready for an issue if it happens than, cry the victim after, like, oh my God, someone mugged me. Well, right. Like if you're smart enough, that won't happen. And that's about being self-aware of your situations around you. I am a huge advocate for people like to always stay off your devices if you're going to your car, especially if you're alone. Yes. That you need to watch your shadows.
Whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter.
Male or
everybody.
Female. I do it all the time. I'm a 6 foot, 220 pound man. I still have my key in my hand, ready to shank somebody if I need to. And again, it's just having that kind of confidence and awareness that's going to automatically turn those people off of you to begin with. Right. Teaching young girls self-defense techniques on how to not experience date rape. Those things are important. The fact that there's a fingernail polish that you can dip into your drink and it will tell you if there's a drug. Every single 20-something should own that nail polish. Product. Right. Absolutely. Right. Especially if you're in a college scene, especially if you're out there on your own. And it is always really, really important to have people who you feel safe around you, support you, and be with them. And not isolate yourself. My mother watches a lot of IDTV, and so do I. So many true crime stories. I watch that stuff just to go, okay, so this is what that person did wrong. Right. Learn from this. Put it right here.
So I want to ask you. We are a little bit over our time, but I'm having so much fun. I had one more question I want to ask, and then we'll get to the wrap up. But we are coming, thankfully. This is not a political show at all, so I probably shouldn't have said that. We are coming out of a crazy 4-year time period where this country was very, very divisive. Mm-hmm. One of the things that I hear from my friends on the right wing often is, what is that saying? Stay woke, go broke, right? So we were talking about like the Marvel movies and stuff and how we're starting to see more inclusion, right? Especially with Eternals that just came out. You had a gay character, you had a deaf character, you had characters that were traditionally men in the comic book that were switched over to women in for the movie. And so that movie really brought a lot of diversity. First off, in that 4-year time period, do you feel like things kind of went backwards in our country? Do you feel like we're moving out of it, or do you feel like that it didn't really affect your community at all?
So this is a very interesting question because there's no simple way of answering it without making somebody upset. Right. I feel like there's been so much progress that we don't give credit to. A lot of kids today, especially, have this like sense of entitlement. And thing is, one of the reasons I've been pushed out is because I'm not much of the current woke mindset, the woke. Right. Because again, I feel that it's very much an ideology. It's one that you cannot question. You cannot argue against. You have to fall in line 100%. Does not matter what somebody says. If the mob has said it, you better get along. Otherwise, you're out. Right. And that just sings so much like religion. And I don't know any other way to say that. I know that has been my biggest gripe with religion is that, well, we're going to ignore divorce and polyester and shellfish and all these other things, but being gay, that's bad, even though it's a commandment and Jesus never said anything about it. And there's like 2 Bible quotes that are taken out of context that they hearken to. It's that kind of hypocrisy. If you're going to be a hypocrite, your stuff doesn't work. And, as much as I really do like pushes in diversity, I would actually say that Arcane on Netflix right now is a better example on how to do that than, say, Eternals. And not to say that Eternals was bad. I like it. I just didn't know anything about that comic book until I saw the movie. I had no idea that there were men characters that were written to be female. I'd never heard of them before. At the same time, I think that there is something to be said that we can tell when it's something that's forced into a script as a sign of virtue signaling. Something that is like legit and melds well with the story. Like a way better example of how to write characters that have those kinds of things, or having diversity as a background, or being very pro-female, or showing about disabilities not being something that hinders you so much. Watch Avatar: The Last Airbender. Okay. It's the only animated show that's won a Peabody for a good reason. Toph is one of the best characters ever written, and she's somebody who even makes light of it. Look, there it is. See, I was a joke. Like there's so many better things out there that people should be paying attention to, and there's so many things that people unfortunately just get mired into a mindset that they are not willing to listen to anything but their echo chamber. And that's to be said on both sides of the political spectrum. The far right and the far left, they are so much of the same,
wrapped up in themselves.
Crazy of, I'm not going to listen to anything that isn't something that I've already said. And there's nothing healthy about that. That if you can't be a critical thinker, if you can't back up your position, especially, and that's my biggest thing, is if I question you, it's not because I'm trying to like tear you down or invalidate you. It's that I'm trying to understand you better. And one of the things is me being a bartender, and especially being a gay man who openly advocates that I'm also a drag queen. I have older generations coming to me all the time, asking me about the new terminologies, asking me about, my great grandson says that he's trans, and I have to kind of guide them in that path in a healthy mindset. But the fact that I'll ask people like, hey, can you maybe define that better for me? And their response is, well, go educate yourself. That is not the response of someone who is actually intelligent.
Educated themselves.
Yeah, exactly. That tells me that you saw this on Twitter, you saw this in a post from your friend, and you were parroting the same words because you don't really know what you're talking about. Classic example on this is the whole J.K. Rowling thing. I don't know. Are you aware of what happened with J.K. Rowling?
Yeah, I personally am. But why don't you, for people that may or may not know, give a really quick synopsis?
So J.K. Rowling is in a lot of hot water, and it has been for like a year and a half now, because she made a tweet along the lines of she supports trans women, but she also acknowledges that there is a bit of nuance and difference between being a trans woman and being a biological woman. And that's something that should be respected. And people have like
lost their lid.
This turf that, we're taking.
She's basically been canceled, culture
she got canceled. She got canceled because she said something to the line that trans women are not 100% women, period. And again, it's one of those things of, there's nothing wrong with being different, and it's a different walk of life. And that's what I took from it. And there's another YouTuber named Blair White that is very conservative, that also talked on this. There's been several other trans people that have talked out about this in either support of J.K. Rowling or not. And as a result, I shared that video of Blair White's response to the whole thing and said, hey, to the members of my trans community, I want to hear from you. I want to hear your 2 cents on this so I can have a better understanding of where you're coming from. And one of the responses I got was, well, they're using old science. And I said, oh, there's new science. Okay, well, tell me about that. What's this new science?
Right.
And so I get shared a link to some, Google search. I was like, okay. So then I Googled myself just real quick, something along the lines. And that was the first thing that came up. So it was like, okay, so I see what happened here.
Right.
Well, then I read it. And I read this entire PhD dossier thing about gender in the new age and what they're doing with it. And it was from a doctor that I'm guessing was non-binary just by the way that they presented and their name. It didn't say anything or stipulate that in the actual dossier. But their conclusions were that through the study of fetuses in vitro, and through the way that humans grow within the womb, in utero, that there are different phenotypes and chromosomes that we were not aware of. That there's more than there's the XY and the XX and the XXY. There's all sorts of different combinations of these things, and that much is very true. But their own research stipulated that being trans is in itself a third sex. So different.
Right.
And for me, I'm like, so what you just told me as your argument that you are exactly the same is not held up by the evidence, what you just showed me, because it literally says in black and white from a educated doctor in this field of research that it's a different thing, that it is a different entity entirely. And my personal stance on it is that, being a gay man is very much different from being a straight man. And the same thing is to be said about being a straight woman versus being a lesbian. Those are different walks of life. Same thing with being trans. It's a different set of hurdles. It's a different set of life experiences. It's a different way that you interact with your body. And there's absolutely no shame to be had in saying that I'm different. Right. And I'm okay for that. For me, what I find fascinating is that people are like, oh, here's my personalized flag for my thing. But then, I don't have to actually tell anybody about it, but I'm going to constantly tell everybody about it. None of those things make sense to me. So it's hard for me to say, you're advocating for your identity, but then you're telling me that you don't have to be upfront with your partner when you're dating someone when you should be, because why wouldn't you? Proud of who you are, why would that be a problem? Right. So I don't know. And again, it's the fact that I say those things that ruffles everyone's feathers and makes them very mad at me. Because, well, didn't you drink the Kool-Aid? You should know that you just go along with whatever we say. And it's like, well, I'm sorry. That's not how I operate.
Right. That makes you an individual. Oh man, this has been and I do apologize. We ran way over.
I told you, I talk forever. That's why I say whole catchphrases.
I've just been having so much fun. And I'm the type of person where if I meet somebody that is different from me or has a different mindset, I want to learn as much as I can, because obviously I don't see those things from the same perspective. So
absolutely.
So I've just been having a blast talking to you tonight. Has been a totally fun. Can you please let people know if they want to find out more information about you? Do you have an Instagram or YouTube or Facebook? Well, obviously you have Facebook because that's how we found you. But how can people reach you? Or I don't know if you even want people reaching you.
Oh, absolutely. No. I love any fans I can get. I terrible with social media, sadly. I'm not nearly as savvy as all the 20-somethings that, have thousands of followers for their 5 pictures. I have 300 pictures. I'm barely at 800. You can find me on Instagram. The handle is drama_geddon, GEDDON.
Okay.
So it's like Armageddon, but with drama.
Dramageddon.
Because when I start drama, it's the end of the world. Outside of that, I do have my Facebook of
there we go.
Rubix Q Arcana. So it's again Rubix with an X, Q as in Queen, and then Arcana like the tarot. And then you can also find my merchandise if you want to on Redbubble. I do have shirts like this available.
Oh wow!
As well as one of these.
Oh, merchandise.
I do recommend this type of shirt. The other ones that are like the basic tank tops are kind of terrible. It's just not nearly as good quality. And then outside of that, people can reach out to me anytime. If you want to look up me on YouTube. I don't have a channel yet. I'm working on that. I want to make something called the Q View. That could be something kind of like this, you know, a forum where we talk about these things and not shout and yell and get all mad at each other.
Right.
But outside of that, if you want to see videos of me performing, they are out there. Just look up Rubik's Cube Arcana. It's either going to be from my phone, somebody else's phone, but it will pop up. There's at least 15 of those floating around in the Ethernet.
Wonderful. And when you do acting, like when you do things at Missouri Street, if I was to look at the bill, would it say Rubik's Cube Arcana or would it say your biological name?
No,
or your birth name.
It would be my God-given birth name, which is Anthony. There was one show that I had to do an alias, and it was Chicago in Stockton Civic Theater. I was cast as Mary Sunshine, which is another drag character in Broadway, and they wanted to really keep the secret that I was a man, like close to the chest, because it's like big in the show. So I couldn't go with Rubix because that one was a dead giveaway. So instead, I was Karma. I was Karma Arcana. They wouldn't give me a picture. And it just had like my whole description, and it left out gender entirely. And then every single show during intermission, like the stagehands would come to me like, "Oh my God, so many people are out there like, I don't know, is that a guy? I think that's a girl. She's got such dainty ankles." And I was like, oh, I do have dainty ankles. That's why I have such a hard time dancing. But it was fun.
I want to thank you so much. I have had such a good time tonight. I apologize to Ezra, our director, for keeping him later here tonight, but we've just learned so much. And I hope this has maybe educated more people on our show because, like I said, this show is typically, we talk about cosplayers and we talk about lightsabers and Star Wars. So as a guest, you are a little bit different than the typical guests that we have, but I feel like this isn't, you know, one of the things that we talked about on our show Friday night was I felt like, you know, as cosplayers, we were kind of 10, 15 years ago, nerds were always picked on and looked down on, right? But now it's kind of chic to be geek, right? And so when our popularity came up, it was heartbreaking to me to see the gatekeepers in our own group that were holding other people down, because I felt like we were all part of the same group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so, it's always the current kids that are now into it because it's cool that are the gatekeepers, right?
Right.
It's never the ones that are our age or older. We were the ones like, no, I got made fun of for this stuff. Like, if I would have been born 8 years later, oh my God, I could have been so much more popular. Vampires became a thing with Twilight. All of the anime that came out, all of this stuff. Like, I mean, granted, I do have a friend of mine from high school that is a professional cosplayer. Have you ever heard of Jacqueline Goner?
I have not.
Okay, check her out. She does an amazing, what is her, Witchblade? Or whatever that one where it's like random skeletal stuff on it. It was a comic I never read. I think it's Witchblade. But she also does a lot of Zelda and all that other stuff too.
Right. Very cool. Okay, I will definitely check that out.
No, I really appreciate you having me on. This was actually a full-on blast. We didn't really get to talk too much about cosplay.
I know. We might have to bring you back on like a whole nother time, like a part 2 of this, because we didn't even talk about the cosplay part. Like I said, I just whoa.
Oops, wrong screen. Go back over there.
It's all of a sudden Ezra.
Hi,
Ezra.
I personally, like, again, you know, I have plenty of gay friends, but I don't have any friends that do drag that I know of. There may be some that do it that just don't tell me about it. So this was an amazing opportunity for me to learn from somebody who does this.
Well, thank you very much. I like to think that I'm kind of an open book, and you know, I'm a rather honest, if not brutally honest, individual. I'm not going to be surprised if I get a little bit of hate sent my way over some of the things I said today. Again, put that foot right out of my mouth. But outside of that, no, this was an absolute blast. I'm so glad that you had me on. I'm glad that I could show off my little.
And thank you for getting dressed up for us, getting off work and rushing home and spending hours getting dressed up for us. That was a lot more than a lot of people do.
And trust, they were trying to keep me too. I was like, no, I got prior engagements. You got to figure it out. I'm sorry. No, honey, I got to get all dolled up for the camera.
Why don't we have you on one of the Kyber Cave After Darks to talk about the topic that we just had on Friday night?
Oh,
Okay.
that is such a good idea. We'll make that a whole different. That's
Is
a
that
really
going to be
good.
like on a Friday?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you?
Okay.
Well, you typically work.
Well, actually,
weekends and nights
no.
and-
That's the thing. I always
Oh.
work Saturdays. Right now, I have not been getting Fridays, and because now it's the slower season, I'm not gonna get Fridays. So I'm
Okay.
trying to branch out and find things to fill that time anyway.
Okay.
So by all means, you want to have me on a Friday? I'm down. I'm totally down.
We'll definitely have you on as a guest speaker. And we'll make it a whole topic.
Okay.
We can even talk about, sexuality and cons and stuff. We'll figure out an exact topic. We'll get me, Ezra, and you. We'll get together and we'll figure out an exact topic. So we're all
for sure.
And down over there in the corner, she'd probably be on for.
And Phoenix too. Yeah. She was the woman on the show. So the last show, the first show was supposed to be 3 guys, and then one of the guys had prior engagement. So Phoenix used to be a host on our show a while ago, and she gave us the female perspective when we were talking about toxicity in cosplay and all that sort of stuff. So I love it. That gives us a full range of perspectives when we talk on the subject. So woohoo, go team!
All right, I will take votes in the comments section of what character I should dress up as next.
Yes, and you can see the menagerie of different stuff back there, so you know what you can choose from.
And if you follow me on Instagram, you will find the plethora of things that I have done in the past. So if you want one of those come back, I could do that. I already have that costume. See, Tifa.
Oh, wow.
Gorgeous. There's Oogie Boogie.
Is that Oogie Boogie?
It is.
Oh, that's so cool.
Lara Croft Tomb Raider.
These are fantastic.
Thank you.
I'm just gonna dump all the ones I have.
Yeah, that we didn't talk about.
The dress I made for Dollar Tree.
Oh, there's the Oogie Boogie mask too. That's so cool. Oh wow, is that Grinch?
That is the Grinch.
Oh my goodness, your makeup work is fantastic. Can we go back to that Grinch really quick?
Yes, we can. Give me 1 second.
Look at those shades and those lines in there. The different shading from the lime to the darker green. That is absolutely incredible.
Thank you.
Do you do that yourself, or do you get help with that stuff?
No, I do all of my own makeup.
Oh my goodness, that's
and again,
intense.
Being the theater kid that I am, that's kind of where I got my start into learning about makeup and having to shape the face and whatnot. Drag is in itself an entirely different monster, but having those foundations really helped me create characters.
Right.
And yeah, Oogie Boogie was fun because I sing that song live.
Right.
Fun because nobody realizes that it's not a recording until I change the lyrics ever so slightly.
Uh-huh.
Because it's not the Oogie Boogie Man, excuse my language, but it's the Oogie Boogie bitch.
You're getting a vote for when we do the other show. You're getting a vote for Batgirl.
Are we talking about Oracle, or are we talking about before that?
Oracle.
Oh,
100% Oracle.
Okay.
My vote's on
Oracle.
Oracle.
A chair now. Damn it.
All right, Rubix, we are going to kill this here because I can talk. I'll just talk to you all night long, and people are like, "Dude, I got a job to get to."
I'm sorry. I told you my whole thing is like, "Hey, Rubix, STFU."
I love it. I'm having a great time personally. Coraline.
Everybody who's following me right now, I will follow you back. Trust.
I will follow you after the show.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Yeah, and I saw somebody asked about your Instagram there, so you might get a few followers after tonight.
Excellent. I might break like the 900 barrier. It's going to be amazing. Oh my god, I'm like a real influencer.
Well, thank you again so much. I hope you and your husband have a lovely evening. Please thank your husband for doing all of the work to get the background set up and everything. Thank your kitty for us as well for coming on camera. And we look out for a message from Ezra and I. We're going to connect with you and figure out a Friday night, and we'll bring you on as a guest for Friday night.
Okay, sounds like a blast.
So beautiful. Thank you so much, Rubix Q Arcana.
Sorry, I didn't.
Much love and lollipops, everyone. Mwah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, Ezra, I'm so sorry, man. I'm so sorry. I just kept that going, but I was having a really good time. It was very interesting to me.
This is almost a 2-hour show.
I know, we do that sometimes. So let's go ahead and get right. Yes, that was very true. Monster Another Stage Light. Yeah. It was. I learned a lot. I did not know honestly anything about drag. So,
unfortunately, Kevin's segment every time I would download it would corrupt, so I didn't get it.
So we don't have video, or
We don't have
anything?
Kevin's video, and we don't have TikToks.
We don't have photos, video, anything.
I have photos. I can get photos.
Well, why don't you just run a few photos? Let's do a minute of photos, and then a minute of photos with some music. How about that?
Okay, I could do that.
What do you know? What cons these are from?
He did say in the chat. My computer's being slow. I can't even pull that up.
Okay. Well, I guess then, since I want to apologize to Kevin. Kevin Hogan,
Sorry,
aka
Kevin.
Sith Cat, is a producer on our show, and he works very hard. Sack Anime is what he's saying. He works very hard to bring us a video to let us know what's going on in the cosplay community here in California. His video and photos were from Sack Anime. But if we cannot get those up right now, I know we've been having computer issues lately.
Yeah, I've been having computer issues all day. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Kevin,
It's
we're
also the
so
reason why
sorry.
we're late.
Yeah. Okay. So Kevin, we will try. I don't know. Maybe we can get that on for Friday shows. We'll figure it out. I just hate that Kevin does all this work and then it's not even getting on air.
I can also just post it straight to the Facebook page.
All right, let's do that. Once we get that edited up, we'll edit up as its own special thing. I also wanted to do those commercials. We'll talk about that after show.
Yes.
All right, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and cut it out. We don't have the TikToks talk of the town for tonight, and unfortunately, Kevin's segment is not uploading. So we will look out on our Kyber K Productions page. We'll just have a separated video that will be Kevin's video.
Oh, he posted the video on YouTube. Do you want to put what your username is?
Are you talking? Who are you talking to?
Kevin.
Oh. So he did post it on YouTube. So you can check that out. And we'll get that up on our Kyber K Productions page this week too.
Khog 286.
Khog 286. Sounds like a radio station.
Look that up on YouTube, and it should be on there. It's not going to be the edited one with the photos coming up or anything, but...
Well, like I said, we'll try to still get, if we can.
Yeah, I will get that up.
We'll figure it out.
I will send that personally to Kevin so we can also post it on YouTube.
All right, y'all. So we are going to go ahead and end. I apologize. We were really late tonight, but again, a long show, but again, just having such a good time talking to someone that in a group that I don't typically get a chance to talk to. So I just kept going and going. But I do want to remind you, please check out our website. Please get a t-shirt or a keychain or some Saber chopsticks. Maybe there's all kinds of stuff on there. We do have some clearance stuff on Saber parts and a couple of Sabers left until our Sabers are ready. We also have pre-orders on our Pure Blood Saber. Beautiful. Also, remember, we have 3 shows now until... Hey, Ezra, when are we starting the gaming show?
Sometime this month. I don't have a day yet.
Yeah, okay. So at the moment, we have 3 shows. By the end of the month, Sack Anime Rapid COVID test gets results within 15 minutes for $40. Oh, you had to pay for that too. I had no idea.
I would not have done that. Jeez, $40.
Well, but then you can't get into the con.
I have COVID.
Well, you do, but the people, that was the choice. Like, if you don't have the card, then you have to go get the test. So at least they were giving you an option. I didn't know that was a fee for it or whatever. Right.
$40 though, I would not have paid that. I would have just went home. Honestly, $40 is more than I even have.
Yeah, but considering some people paid for 3-day weekend passes or whatever, I'm just saying that at least it was an alternative. It gave other people options. You know what I mean? That's kind of a rough one, but at least there was something. All right, so be sure to tune in this coming Friday at 9 p.m. for Kyber Cave After Dark. Hello, Zayo. Next Saturday at 7 p.m., we have cosplay builds at the Kyber Cave featuring Darkseid Saber. And next Sunday at 7 p.m.
will be our 80th episode of...
That will be our 80th episode?
That'll be our 80th episode.
Woohoo! We're moving on in the world. God, can you imagine, like, coming up in March, 3 more months will have been, 2 years? 1 year, 2
Give or
years?
take, yeah.
No, 2 years because we started during pandemic. It was in
Yeah, it was
2019, right?
2020. We started this in
Pandemic was in
2020.
2020.
Yeah, pandemic was March of 2020,
Okay.
and then we started this roughly about April.
Yeah, right. So okay, so this will be our it'll be our 1 year anniversary. I don't know what I'm smoking.
This will be a 2
Nothing,
year.
unfortunately.
This will
So
be our
coming
2
up
year.
in March,
Yeah.
will be 2 years.
Yes. Because our
Okay.
1 year was 2021. This will be our 2 year.
Oh yeah, this is 2020. I'm so confused, dude. 2022. All right, 2020 part 2. All right, let's get on out of here. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. I hope you had a good time. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us and share it out and let everybody else know too, so we can get more people in here commenting and enjoying. John Connor's Terminator 2 actor will be at Stockton Con next weekend. Hey, see,
I can't even afford that, so.
But you know what? Other people may be able to. This show's not just about you, Ezra. All right. Thank you for everybody tuning in. Say goodbye, Zayo. Good night, Ezra, and thank you for everything.
Night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Good night, Kevin. Good night, Phoenix. Peace. And Steven and